make you feel bad.
He's muted,
You
by
do
the
a,
way.
He's deafened right now.
I mean, like he does plenty of work, but I mean, at the end of the day, we have to be honest about it, man. Like I'm a direct person. If somebody doesn't like me or they want me to leave, like I'm fine. I told Wonder plenty of times. You can ask him every single conversation I've ever had, and the multiple times that I told him I wouldn't take guild leaders because that's not what's best interest of eminence. I've told him every single time, and the advice that I've always given him was about what's in the best interest of eminence. It was the same stuff with all the serenity crap back in the day.
Also, it's impossible to please everybody. Feels.
And that's the whole point. That's what I was telling people, last Tuesday night after the raid, because I had a couple of people, message me regarding the decision with the scepter, and I told them, straight up, it's like, well, I'm not a GM. I can't just summon, what drops off bosses. I mean, you guys are slated to be first with some things. It just hasn't happened. I mean, I can't give you something that isn't there. Yeah, I can't make it come out of thin air and be like, here you go. I mean, unfortunately, healers are the ones who have gotten shafted the most out of AQ.
I would agree. The last run was the first run where we actually had like reasonable healer stuff drop.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, we've had one scepter, we've had one ring off of who ran. We've had we haven't had a single shield. We've had 2 hats. We've had, a shoulder. We've had
some of the legs have been there. A couple of the legs.
No, not the leg plates of Blazing Light.
I meant the cloth ones. Those are really good.
Would it be bad of me to bow out? Because, like, I don't want to ruin myself out of all of this, to be honest, but I kind of got pulled in.
Nah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, you're good, Coco.
All right, man. Sorry about this, guys.
No. I mean, like, you also have to look. Sometimes the numbers aren't, like, truthful. Look at the, so you look at Medzi, right? So Medzi's got, 8 items? The most out of the healers. Mm-hmm. How many of those did he win on a roll? Right, so 5 of them are tier pieces. And how many times did he have to win those on a roll?
Right.
We'd say a couple, maybe more.
Well, that's the thing, is that, like with Nugsy, once he got the Scarab Brooch, I took away all of his other prios because he was prioed for Scepter, another big ticket item.
Yeah, which is smart. That's what you should do.
Yeah, I mean, because it was already forecasted, and I was like, well, instead of trying to create more friction, take away friction that he doesn't know about and other people don't know about, and give it to other people. That's the way you do it.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you. Like, if somebody's up for prio on something and they get, like, an item that's relatively big, and I think we can agree or disagree on Brooch, but Brooch isn't an item that anybody's using on a boss, and it's not Abyss. It's not Abyss Priest item. It's an item you use on trash. Like, I don't understand why that's such a big ticket item.
I don't know. It's good for certain fights. I mean, like I mentioned, like Valastraz. I mean, that'd be a perfect one for like a paladin or even priests to use it on, because you can just literally spam, prayer of healing, put bubbles constantly on people, and it's just that much extra healing that's going to be accounted for.
Yeah.
And so it's a good way to just cheese the meters or whatever you want to do with it.
But I mean, that's part of the hard part of what we're dealing with here, right? So Deer sees that as like this huge big item that she can't understand or can't fathom how Nugsy would still have prio on something when it's not even an Abyss item. Like, why would that knock anyone's prio down? Like, I would, if Coert would have taken Lockamere, he still should have gotten the second. Like, if Coert would have taken the Lockamere last time, he's still 100%. Like, we can't look at what people are getting, because sometimes, like, we have to look at what's the most impactful decision for our raid. And sometimes we have to give them that stuff. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, it was really super. It was nice of Coert to pass that. And if Coert would have gotten Lockamere and the next day would have gotten Scepter, I'd have been fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point, is that, that's the agreement that I came up with. I was like, hey, you didn't get Lockamere, you've been waiting, you've been here every raid, you're doing a great job, you're, doing everything you need to, so I want to reward you by, giving you the next Scepter after Nugsy. That's literally what I told him 4 months ago. It's like, I don't know how many times Lockamere is going to drop, but it's best in slot for Deer, for the rest of the game. She's literally not going to find anything better. So for her as a Shadow Priest to optimize her the best, I'd like her to get her hands on it just to make sure, because once Nax comes out, we're not going to be doing BWL anymore. It's just going to be AQ and Nax, and that's it.
No, I mean, I agree. I don't know. I think there were less issues than are made up to be, right? Because I think Rogue Sama and Mogar talk now. Mogar's gotten what the same amount of pieces as Minika, as Scud, as Gordov. I mean, he's a tank, right? I mean, like, I think stuff like that's going to happen. You're going to gear people up faster than you are others, right? Koyan's got 7 pieces from AQ. Does that mean that we're going to take his pride away on something? No, I mean, it's dumb. I don't know. I honestly think there are a lot less issues than what are being made, and I think that this is a much bigger
I mean,
being made to
the
be a
more
much
people
bigger
talk,
deal.
the more it sounds like to me the issue is
Deer and Coco.
Deer and Wonder didn't know where the mace was going.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know if I want it back. Even if it
I mean,
was-
the hard part is I don't know that Deer should have. Like that's my issue. Is like I don't think Deer should have. Like so many times she said like I don't want to be in the decision process. So then take yourself out of the decision process. Like
Well,
we
that
made
was
Tracy on the
Well, it's
officer
kind
for
of
the reason.
difficult to deal with for sure. And
Well, it's
like,
like-
how can you kindly address that without offending her? Because then you get to this position, right?
I mean, you know,
I mean, it
there's a lot of
definitely
other
can't be
things that
both
could go on.
ways, right? I mean, we can all agree on that. You can't say you don't want to be a part of the loot and then cry when loot goes in
Yeah.
a different way than you think it's going to be.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think Dracion did anything wrong at all.
I mean, if
But the whole
Dracion
point was
communicated,
to
he
have
didn't.
recaps so that we could communicate these discrepancies, or you know what I mean?
And I can be better about being at
Fine.
this. Like sometimes I've missed them.
I mean, we all can.
I think we could just to make it better come
thing
up
is
with an
like we
agenda.
trying, you know? Like I don't
Yeah,
understand.
it's just a game. At the end
All
of the day.
fucking trying to work
Pixels.
together. I don't know
It's just
why it's
trying-
like.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Oh.
fun. Yeah, we're supposed to have a good time together.
Oh,
That's
I'll be
the
right
whole
back. 1
point.
second. Sorry.
But you know, I really feel like at the crux, that's the issue. I mean, I can think back. So I think back to Phase 3. Were you guys here in Phase 3, Alex? And Boo?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
started it around there.
So like, you remember when all the not Millies, but the Warrior stuff? Like, Deer was the one who kicked off all of that, saying that the Warriors weren't being represented well and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
cetera,
with
et
like
cetera, et
DFT
cetera.
and stuff.
Exactly. So like, you know, I mean, historically, Deer is the one that brings up the loot issues that kick off into much larger issues after trying to work through those.
Right, but she needs to understand that it's loot issues are ongoing
Okay,
forever. You know what I mean?
long story short is, this has just been, I know it's been insane, been crazy, it's been stupid, and I think, and I think we already hinted at it, in just that, so we obviously have 2 raid teams, and I told a couple people this a long time ago, that running 2 guilds under 1 banner is not like. It causes a lot of problems, and it causes a lot of conflicts, and people have resentment for ridiculous reasons because they don't see eye to eye unless they're in both raids. And a lot of the animosity, frankly, comes from the people who are in the weekend raid who don't understand why there's so much animosity towards them, or vice versa, or they've probably had issues in the past. And at least the only solution I can see, because that's where a lot of this is just coming from, just silent grumbling that feeds into negative opinions, that feed into negative personas, that, and I've been trying to think my brain through this, and like literally, like, you know, weekday raid has its own agenda, and weekend raid has its own agenda, and not a lot of all the people get along, so that, you know, maybe it's just best to just separate both raids. Just because, like, you know, if leadership at the top doesn't really care about both raids, and it's only just me and like a couple other people, then like, you know, the focal point should be like the weekday raid of the people in this channel, which they shouldn't give a shit about what's going on the weekend, and I think that's what's the main perpetrating of all of this. And I told a long time ago that I'm like, probably should have just made another guild or done something different or done something else with it, instead of just kept making it like keep it under the same banner. But when you don't have leadership, is because like the only time I ever see guilds that have 2 raids work really well is when the officers are in both raids, and both raids are conducted basically as like raid 1 and raid 2, raid A and raid B, and not like 2 separate entire raids.
I've
So
seen plenty of guilds do it the other way as well and still do it with way less drama than we do.
yeah, Clara, I'm not expecting you to understand, or not expecting you to be okay with this, or be like, just be like, what the fuck? I'm sure you're like that, but then I don't know what else to say other than like, yeah. And then even if they don't, then they don't. But um, I'm not trying to ruin you guys' fun any longer, or trying to, everybody has like I don't know what what preconceptions people came in this channel thinking, or what maybe we thought we were thinking, because we thought like it's when people quit one time, maybe they'll just quit a second time, because you know that's history repeats itself, because like literally this was brought up maybe a month ago or something the same exact conversation, and then people just wanted to quit. So at least that's how I felt that it was gonna go down. But people don't, like, people want, like, obviously upward trend and there's an upward everything, then I just need to figure that out.
I'm sorry, did I miss something? What conversation?
You weren't here. There was like this like God, the last time we had this conversation, Alex Smith just demoted himself because he thought this was ridiculous, and like what the hell is going on? I don't want to deal with this crap. So at least that's the gist of I
Yeah,
remember.
it was a lot of well, once again, it was just coming down to a communication problem where things weren't being relayed and things weren't being addressed and things weren't, heard or understood. So
Yeah, when I did it, I felt that Coco wasn't being. I felt too many people were trying to interfere with what Coco was doing, and I thought he was doing a good job of actually like trying to hold people accountable. And so I felt that people were saying, and sorry, I just get back, so I may have missed some other things, but I felt, and that's why I said an off shot. Like I just felt people weren't going to give Coco the reins, and if people weren't going to give like Coco the reins and like actually give him the ability to do like what he needs to be done, which is different than what Wonder did, right? I mean, Wonder does a lot of things really good, like confronting people, and I mean, it's just not in his wheelhouse, right? So I felt people weren't giving Coco that, so I was like, man, I'll just step down, right? I just won't raid anymore, and whatever. And then people were like, all right, well, we'll let Coco. So I was like, fine, I'll stay and help. Like Coco wants to make things go well, then I'll stay there. Sorry, I just got back. I was walking my dog for a second. I mean, and I'm fine with saying, like, I don't understand why everybody thought that we were all going to leave. Like, we can have disagreements and we can have issues and we can have conversations and still be fine. I'm not mad at anybody. I don't hold anybody, like, hold any ill will towards people. I mean, it's why we, like, try to have a conversation with Gordov and his group. So I don't